Peace, everybody. Welcome to Capital Combat. Name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch.
Rob Jarrell.
And today we're going to recap the Showtime Championship Boxing telecast that came on December 14th. Main event, Broner-Maidana and Adrien Broner. We're also going to cover Keith Thurman and Jesus Soto Karass, and briefly touch on Leo Santa Cruz, Cesar Seda, and Beibut Shumenov and Thomas Kovacs. Since we didn't really talk about the two opening bouts that much on the preview video, we're just going to touch on some of the things that we liked in those two fights, and a lot of it was the things that we told you to watch for because they threw a lot of punches and they were entertaining fighters. They ended up being entertaining fights, and one of them ended a lot earlier than we thought it would. So go ahead, Rob.
All right, so the first bout of the night was Beibut Shumenov versus, to us, a showcase fight. Can't remember his first name, last name was Kovacs at 175. Tomas Kovacs at 175. Beibut Shumenov didn't really throw as many punches, but he was very accurate and he was very economical with his punches. He has kind of a weird style, both hands kind of down at his side. Very weird rhythm and very weird stance, kind of hunched over, kind of in a kind of ready to attack position. But he had actually a pretty decent jab to show from that position. And he laid some licks on Kovacs. Kovacs really couldn't do anything. Not in this fight. Again, didn't go 12 rounds. This guy who throws 1,000 punches. Didn't really see that. But once he gets in there with tougher opposition, then you'll see it.
Yeah, he got 3 knockdowns, one in each round that they had, and they just had to stop it. It was like, all right, this is getting kind of sad. But it was a very, very shameless promotion from Broner-Marcos and trying to make, Shumenov look credible as an opponent for him. And, I mean, given his last opponent, why not? Shumenov showed good power, showed good technique. He probably would do better than wasn't it Karo Murat?
Yeah,
that was the guy's name. So, hey, why not? That's another belt for B-Hop. Good opponent, and that's that.
If the fight is made, we would definitely go into that, but this remains to be seen. It's a lot of time between now and probably when that fight is signed.
Yeah, a lot of room between the cup and the lip, as they say. Let's go on to Leo Santa Cruz, who defended his 122-pound title against Cesar Seda. And this one, we didn't think was going to go the distance. It ended up going the distance, and that's a lot of credit to Cesar Seda. He showed some great movement. He showed some great guile and taking some hard punches from Santa Cruz. And he delivered some punches of his own as well to make it a competitive one-sided fight.
Well, to be honest, I don't think it was that one-sided. I mean, the rounds were actually very close. It was a unanimous decision, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But those rounds were super close, in my opinion. We talked about the left to the body and the body work of Leo Santa Cruz, but he utilized the jab and the 1-2 combination very well, especially going to the body and going up top. Seda used the ring. He didn't get too much into close combat exchanges. If he did, he was in, then he immediately moved out, circled around Santa Cruz to avoid any too much punishment. But I was very impressed with Leo Santa Cruz because he was able to weather the storm. And of course, both of them had great chins in this fight because they took some hellacious shots. But there was a point made on Fight Hype about Leo Santa Cruz. They put him in all action fights. I believe he's only about 23, 24.
Yeah.
And he is not only a volume puncher, but he likes to fight in the box, up close, all action. He may need to tweak his style a bit.
I mean, that's a given. Like, that type of style does not equate to a long career,
right,
as say a boxer or someone like that. But hey, let's just enjoy him while he's here. Hopefully he doesn't get into a fight with a fighter that is better at that style than him, because then it might be a problem. As long as they keep matching him up well, he might get outboxed or something like that, but it wouldn't be to the point where, you know, he's like slurring his speech in 20 years.
Right. Or if he starts moving up in weight, because he just moved up to, what is this, 118?
122. From 118.
118 to 122, and we've already kind of seen that with Abner Mares, where he might have got a little long in the tooth moving up a few weight classes. So that remains to be seen. Great win for Leo Santa Cruz. Still look forward to seeing him in his next fight.
Yeah. So let's go into Keith one-time Thurman against Jesus Soto Karass. Now this was a great fight. It almost got fight of the night, but we'll talk about the fight of the night later on. But Soto Karass came out there and said, hey, I'm not no chump. You have to earn this victory. And earn it did Keith Thurman do. Go ahead, Rob.
Now, Jesus Soto Karass had 2 good wins against Selçuk Aydin and Andre Berto, which ended in knockout. You're talking about a tough guy who throws a lot of punches, has good power, and is a veteran. Not necessarily shot more, but he's a very good veteran. He brings a lot to the table, and he's very tough. His last loss was against Broner-Maidana by a knockout, and it took some time for Maidana to get that one. So
and he went down swinging too.
That's right. And Thurman this is his best win to date, because Soto Karass, I hate to call him this, but he is kind of like that gatekeeper to the elite division. And Thurman passed with flying colors. He didn't allow Karass to truly walk him down and keep him against the ropes. Now, one time took some shots, ate him, and came back with his own, but he utilized the ring very well. He didn't stand in the box too long. He outboxed Soto Karass. Some of that circling was a little wild from my opinion, but he kept moving. He kept out of range, worked his way in with the jab, and threw those power shots. And he outlanded Karass maybe about 2-1, even though Soto Karass threw more punches than he did.
Yeah, he had a really tough round 1. He was clearly buzzed from a long right hand from Soto Karass, and he probably should have, you know, clinched or maybe did some of that wide circling and clear his head. He said, man, F that. I'm throwing punches. And he threw some big bombs and backed Karass off of him.
That's
So
right.
you got to give him some kudos for it, because if it didn't work, we'd be like, oh, why didn't you grab? But it worked this time, so good job.
That's right.
The thing that I really liked was his angles that he used, especially on the knockdown and the knockout. Keith Thurman was not right in front of Jesus Soto Karass when he scored those damaging blows, which is probably why they did the damage they did. Like when he knocked him out, he was standing completely beside him, but still throwing punches.
That's right.
And you could see, like from the replay, Soto Karass was out. Like his eyes was closed already, and Keith Thurman landed maybe 4 more punches before his body actually dropped. That's a tough guy to, you know, be out on his feet like that and take those bombs. And that was good of Keith Thurman to keep throwing punches, because maybe he would have woke up and came back too. So this was a good action fight, a good step up for Keith Thurman. He should step up even more, because like we said in our previous video, he gets better each time we see him. We saw him get through some adversity this time. We saw him use some great angles. We saw him use the ring. He saw him set up with his jab again. He used his power effectively. I mean, it's not much more you can ask for from Keith Thurman, except for a step up in competition, which I'm sure we're going to get.
And not only that, I really liked his choice of when to go for the knockout and when not to. He did have that knockdown earlier in the fight. That was the fifth round. So he didn't blow his load on this one. He tried to measure his punches, make sure that either Soto Karass, who is tough, who can come back from knockdowns, he did versus Andre Berto, so he had the wherewithal to realize, hey, this guy might not be as out as I think he is. So he still set up his punches, still a jab. He was still aggressive, but he didn't just throw every punch in the back in that he had. But in that last round, when he got the knockout, he was like, oh. And as soon as Soto Karass kind of dropped his hands, like, this guy's out. He's going down.
Yeah. and he finished emphatically, and that's what all you can ask for from your fighter. So let's move on to the main event, with Adrien Broner defending his welterweight title against Marcos-Maidana. Now, if you watched our preview video,
please do. If you don't believe us, check it out to see if we were right.
We talked about how the fight was going to go. We already knew what Marcos-Maidana brought to the table. We knew Rob called him a Wolverine. The guy's going to take a licking and keep on ticking. He's going to throw those bombs. He's going to be real rough. He's going to be very durable. Not the fastest guy, but he can hurt you if he touches you. That's what he brought to the table. Now, all the question marks were more for Adrien Broner. He had the skill, he had the flash, he had pretty much the road paved for him to be a great fighter. Unfortunately for this one, he just didn't utilize the tools that he needed to get the victory. Now, if you watched our preview video, I'll go ahead and put it down here so you can check it out. We said that Broner needed to use his feet, he needed to establish his jab, he needed a consistent body attack, and he needed to make Maidana respect his power. Don't think he did any of that.
And he was really surprised, I'm like, in the first round, because I was like, okay, what are you gonna do, Broner? And all of a sudden, here comes Maidana like a spider monkey just out of nowhere. He just came at him. And the one thing that really impressed me about Maidana, we already knew he was aggressive. We already knew he threw wide, hard punches, and he was relentless, was the establishment of his jab.
Yeah.
He used his jab to set up two punches. The overhand right and the right to the body. Now, what I mean the right to the body, and if you ever watch any of Maidana's workout videos with Garcia, and then you go back and watch Broner's, you can see the difference. Maidana threw a lot of wide right body shots. Not straight, but wide. Because he wanted to get around the left elbow of Broner. And it found his mark. He consistently digged to the body. He got him with the left, but I think he really needed to get around that right hand. And I think at that first knockdown, no, the second knockdown, Broner kind of tried to go back, have his hands down and what's name just came right back upstairs.
Yeah, that was for both knockdowns, really.
Yeah.
Maidana didn't let Broner off the hook. When you got a guy throwing wide punches like that, you can't go straight back. You have to go out at an angle. You have to use your lateral movement. And since the Ponce de Leon fight, you really haven't seen Adrien Broner use his feet at all. He did catch a lot of flack for that. We said that in the last video. Maybe he's trying to prove a point. Maybe he's not in the best shape. We don't know.
But if you watch the fight with Devin Alexander versus Maidana, you can see that keeping Maidana from setting nullifies his power. What do? You turn him. What did Broner do? Stand right in front of him, trying to walk him down, or just very flat-footed, not going left or right, going back. And you know, with punches like that, you don't always want to go back because it's still that point that it can hit you if you misjudge the distance. I really love that overhand right from Maidana because he punched right over the lead, the shoulder of Broner. And I think that's how he got caught the first time because it came, everyone's throwing straight. He came over just right here. And that's what really buzzed him, and that really kind of opened him up to further punishment. Not to say that Broner didn't have success, because if Maidana was off to the body, he would get caught with the counter left hook.
Yeah, he did score some nice right uppercuts as well. Broner did have some success later on. He started to get his rhythm, and it looked like he landed a couple of hard shots on Maidana. He just didn't follow up with anything to make him back up or even think about trying to back up and reassess his plan. So you really got to give credit to Marcos-Maidana because he executed his game plan to a T. And we are forgetting that, you know, he has a game plan. He might be wild, he might be, you know, a little rough, but he had a game plan that night. He executed that game plan and it worked for him. He's now a world champ and he should be congratulated for that. On the other side, there's a lot of work Adrien Broner needs to do, like we talked about. A lot of people talking about him dropping down in weight, but one of those outside intangibles is maybe he's not disciplined enough to get down to those weight classes. Because if you saw like the All Access with Floyd Mayweather, maybe like 2 or 3 months out from the fight, Broner's got a big gut. He's got no muscle definition. He's like out on tour rapping. He's in the clubs. And the funny thing is, if you watch his All Access, he's at Mayweather's gym sparring, but you see Mayweather getting his hands wrapped. Mayweather doesn't even have a fight coming up. What's he getting his hands wrapped for?
Exactly.
Because he's training, that's why.
And they're talking about him trying to be this Mayweather clone. He idolizes Mayweather. Well, you got to take, it's the stuff, not the stuff in the ring, not the money, it's all the other intangible stuff. Mayweather is always prepared. He looks like he can go at any point.
Exactly.
He's not drinking, he's not smoking, he's not doing a lot of the clubbing or the partying. Not to say that he doesn't party, he has his fun. But the guy is always prepared, he's always ready, he's always in shape.
Yeah.
And even as a promoter, he just promoted a fight. He had 6 of his fighters fight. Guess what? I bet you if he wanted to, he'd be ready to go too, because he is dedicated to the sport, not just the fame.
Right. And that's where it seems is the difference between him and Broner. I mean, everybody wants, him, they were like anointing him to be that, and he wanted to be it himself. But one of the things we gotta realize is, why can't we just let Mayweather be Mayweather and let Broner be Broner?
Right.
We could enjoy Broner for who he is and still not have to compare him to Mayweather. Now, I know he has tried to carbon copy himself as Mayweather, but we can still enjoy his fights. We can still enjoy his next fight, even though he lost. Maybe he gets the rematch against Maidana. He says he wants it. Maybe he gets it. Maybe he does much better. Whoever he fights, people are going to watch. Now, and another thing, a lot of people who picked Maidana weren't picking him because of his skills. They were picking him because they disliked Broner.
Right.
Y'all cut that out. Just stop. I mean, it's okay to dislike a person. I don't care for his antics either. But to just flat out hate somebody because they're doing something, I mean, he's still at a bigger stage than most of us will ever make it to. And to get there, he had to put in some hard work. Maybe he hasn't put in the hard work to make it to the Mayweather level. That's a whole nother level. But he is at a high enough level and has made enough money for him to have a little bit of respect, at least for his skills in the ring. If you don't like his outside of the ring antics, don't watch it. Once the fight's over, turn off the interview. Don't wish for someone else's downfall. That's just like crabs in a barrel thing. And then at the end of the day, you're still not gonna get anywhere because he's still gonna wake up and cash that $3 to $5 million check. He might be bruised a little bit, but you're happy sitting there on the internet and still not doing anything. You still didn't make it to the gym. You still didn't get you a fight.
Now here's another note I want to bring up. The referee. Now, many people don't really, unless they're really watching boxing, look at the role of the referee.
Oh, yeah, he was terrible.
In this fight, this referee, who I can't remember his name, but he was terrible.
Shortly? John Shorley or something like that?
Possibly John Shorley. We'll look it up. You'll probably see something here that says the name of. But he was just awful. He had no control on this fight. You see a lot. He warned Broner for pushing several times. If you remember, in a fight with Amir Khan, he got deducted 2 points for pushing.
Yeah.
2, not just 1, 2.
It is illegal. You can't have points deducted for it. And Adrien Broner should have at the point that he was doing it.
Now, they took a point from Maidana for a headbutt after he was being cuffed or tied up by Broner. And it was almost like, I'm going to hit you here and I'm not letting go, even though they say break. So he caught a headbutt for his trouble, but he lost a point.
That was one of the Victor Ortiz joints.
That's right. Probably never should have happened either, so I'm just saying you should have stopped the roughhousing then. And what was up with the dry humping? Really? Why hump your opponent?
Yeah, that's just uncalled for.
Broner, for whatever reason, was the third round, second round?
No, I think it was like the first round.
Hump Maidana. Personally, I'm not humping a man.
Yeah.
At all. TV, no TV, that's just something that's no. And then, of course, what happens after Maidana has taken control of the fight and is on his way to winning, he humps him back. Now, it could be in response to the humping that he took. It's gross.
Yeah. Unless you like to hump other men, don't hump another man. Just don't.
For any reason.
Don't do it. No.
Now, with that being said, we're going to move on. We want to bring this note. A 41-year-old Amir Mansour, heavyweight out of Delaware, fought Kelvin Price on NBC Sports on Saturday.
Yep, same night.
Same night. What we got was a really good contest, and where Amir Mansour finally was able to get on national network television for his first time in a fight where he's calling out any and everyone, and he fought Kelvin Price, who was his second loss. That was his second loss, and his first loss was against Deontay Wilder by a vicious knockout.
Yeah. He showed a lot of heart in that fight. Showed a lot of determination.
Showed good power.
Yeah. But honestly, I wasn't too impressed with his performance.
No.
I mean, yes, he's 41, so the gas tank isn't going to be completely there.
And he does,
especially for his style.
And he hasn't taken a lot of punishment because he's had long layoffs.
Yeah. And those long layoffs he spent in prison.
Yeah.
So you gotta question where his mind state is. Like, if he's really that hungry, is he gonna go out there and commit crimes to,
Yeah.
jeopardize his meal ticket?
But that's neither here nor there.
Right.
What we saw in this with Kelvin Price, who, in my opinion, is not that he's
just really tall.
He's about 6'8", fairly muscular, but he has a very awkward and, to me, ineffective style, even at that size. Stance too wide, hands down, by size
jab
at all.
Yeah.
And man, Mansour, it was actually just the right pick to get inside that jab and just kind of rough him up.
Yeah. And with that, kudos to him.
That's right.
He got his exposure. He got his knockout. He's got his name out there even more now.
That's right.
Maybe he can get on HBO or Showtime against a lesser tier heavyweight to get even more exposure.
Or even back on NBC Sports, because they have, of course, they have Glasgow, they have Adamek. They have fighters that he can fight. He can be on television. We just don't know if he's going to be able to take that step up to fight the Deontay Wilders or the Klitschko's or even the Kovacs of the world. That remains to be seen.
Yeah, and we got to see it. And honestly, even though I wasn't too impressed with that performance, I want to see it. I want to see this guy get a shot. He's been trying really hard. He's been calling people out. Somebody pick up the phone. Let's see if this guy can put up or shut up. That's all I got.
Pretty much.
Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you like this video, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, Google+, wherever you're watching it. Make sure you comment, leave your thoughts on the video. Share it with your friends on all the social networks as well. We're on Facebook, we're on Google+. Recommended on YouTube.
Shoot us an email, capitalcombat@gmail.com.
Yeah, we're open to any questions. We respond to all comments. Just don't go all fanboy on us. That's really it. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you in the next video. Peace.
This is round one and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming at cost. My fists are on fire, I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage, keep thinking that it's a game. I kick crime, hurricane. I told them I don't play, I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.